Hi, I'm David Siegel, the longevity coach. Today I want to give you a bunch of basic exercises you can do at any age or any ability just to get yourself started training for longevity. Remember that I'm a coach and I'm doing this for demonstration and informational purposes only. I'm not a doctor, I don't have certifications, and this is not instruction. You should not do what I'm showing you. I'm just here to show you some things so you can learn. And then you should talk to your doctor or the people you think are the right people to help you make decisions about what exercise program would be right for you. We're going to cover mobility, balance, flexibility, stability. We're going to work on the leg strength, especially the back of the legs, and I'll cover grip strength. And then at the end, we'll do some bone building exercises. And I'm going to start with balance. Balance is the fundamental thing everyone should learn. Everything I give you in this video will go from easiest to most difficult. So you'll see if you're in your 80s or 90s, you'll want to see the beginning parts of each section. And if you're younger and stronger, you can skip toward the end of each section. But we'll always start with the easiest thing first. And the first thing is balance, and everyone should be able to do this. And this is simply balancing on one foot. So you should be able to balance on one foot pretty comfortably for quite a long time. Now, ideally, you want to go for 1 minute on one foot. And this is going to activate tiny muscles in your feet and toes that help you stay upright. And as you do it, you'll get stronger and stronger. And if you can't do it for a minute at the beginning, that's fine. You should be able to do it for 10, 20, 30 seconds, and then eventually 1 minute. And you can see that I'm touching my toes, I'm cheating, I'm doing whatever I need to do. I'm getting a little tired. So then you can just switch to the other foot. And when you balance, you want to have your head at a shallow angle down. Straight out usually isn't best, and too far down usually isn't best. Something like this kind of angle. And then you can make it harder. You can put your hands at your side. I'm better on the right foot. You can put your hands at your side. You can put your hands in back. One interesting thing you can do is trace the alphabet with your finger. This is going to make it a lot harder to balance, trust me. Do signals with your fingers as you make letters, and that's a challenge. Okay, another challenge is to go forward and balance. You might want to back up. Go forward and balance. Go backward and balance. Take big steps. Once you get something, when you can do it for, let's say 30 seconds or so, then you want to make it harder. And once you're here and you can balance on one foot like this, then you can start moving your other foot forward, angle, side, angle, back. Just tap your toe. Side this way. Whoops. Side this way. Side this way. Do it this way. Here. Around. Here. Up. Up and back. Swing. Now, for some people, this is very tricky. So you can use a chair or a rail, something stable. You don't want to fall down. Don't risk falling down. And when you use something on the side, try to use it as lightly as possible. After some period, you could be able to do it just with the back of your hand. So you have a little less control with your hand. Also, you can try to bring your hands in. Okay, but don't fall down. Make sure that you're practicing in a stable way, so there's no risk. You can jump to the side and pick your foot up. Once you've done that, you can work on hopping a little bit. So you can hop and stay up. Let me go here. So you can hop. It makes it harder. Hop. Hop. You can go up on your toes. Stay up. Go up on your toes. Stay up. My left side is much worse than my right. Okay. You can also use these kinds of tools to, again, make it more difficult. Again, you want to make sure you can hold on. You don't want to fall off. But now it's more difficult, much more challenging. And there are different degrees of this kind of squishiness. One way to do it, just do it on a yoga mat. It's a little more squishy and it makes it a little harder. So there are many ways to balance, challenge yourself, try new things. Every time you get to a certain level, try to go up to the next level. Okay? You find it pretty easy? Okay, make it harder. Swing. That kind of thing. So you can do that forever. Everybody can use balance work. Another thing you can do is you can destabilize one side. So now I have to compensate. And you'd think it's a little easier because you have ballast, but it's just as hard and it's different. So that takes you into a different set of muscles that you can use to stabilize. Okay, you get the idea. That's balance. Now we're going to talk about flexibility. And you've got two main joints that you want to make flexible, your ankles and your knees. And ankle flexibility is simply like this. You're just taking time to go in different angles like this to try to get some ankle flexibility. Another helpful thing is a wedge. You may have a wedge at your gym, or you can buy a wedge that helps you get flexibility this way. And you can do one at a time. Generally, you want to do one leg at a time so you get the maximum effect. Now, mostly we're going to work on knees, okay? And for knees, we want to bend the knee as much as possible. And if you have to start light and you don't have much flexibility, then you're going to have a helper chair, and you can start like this. The goal is to get your butt as close to your ankle as possible. So when I started these last summer, I was about here, and now I'm pretty much all the way, and I can relax. Now with this kind of thing, you're trying to relax, not have any tension in your leg, or it'll be too difficult. You won't make progress. So you want to sink into it and go as far as you can. If you can only go this far, then just stay there. Relax, push the knee down, and try to decrease this distance between your heel and your butt. So eventually you want to be able to do this. And the same on the other side. And then you can try to do it without the hand. And relax and push the knee forward and feel a big stretch here. This helps your knees no matter how old you are. I was doing this yesterday with my dad, who's 93. You want as much range of motion as you can get in your knees And it is worth working on this for months and months until you make real progress. Now, before we can do squatting, I want to show you a basic knee bend. And anyone at any age can do this. So you want to hold on, you want to put your hand out in front and touch your heel. And how low can you go? How can you do this slowly, under control, and touch your heel? And then can you go maybe a little lower? Nice and slow. This is where, at some point, it's going to get weak and it's going to drop. And so you have to be prepared for that. And if you're much older, if you're in your 80s or 90s, then you want to be able to sit down. So you don't want to fall. Prepare yourself so that you have safety mechanisms, and here is a good one. I have a chair for stability, a heavy chair. I put my heel right up against the back chair, and then I have a nice solid chair here, and I go down, down, and then I can sit down. And then I want to go up, and that's hard. But this is the back of the leg conditioning you want to do. So you'll build these muscles. These muscles are all there. They're just underutilized. So they're skinny. They're very small. You want to make them bigger by stressing them. And then if you need to, you can fall into your chair. And then you can make the chair lower so that again, put the heel right back up against the chair and then go down as slowly as you can. And this is going to be hard for plenty of people, even in your 40s, but you're protected, and when you can't do it anymore, you sit down. Can I stand up? Yeah, I can, because I do this every day. I practice this probably half an hour every day. So I want to go down slowly, under full control. Always with one foot. Two legs doesn't get you the strength you're looking for. And you want to take it down as slowly as you can so that you very gently, and if you need to lean forward, you can lean forward and then ease down. And then stand up. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot for a lot of people to do. And you can change the height of this, whatever you're using to protect you, and that will give you more challenge the lower it gets. And then eventually you want to get to where you can do a toe squat like this. And this is all small muscles in the balls of your feet and toes, keeping you upright. Then you want to sit up more and have full control. You can try one side, then the other side. You can see that this gets pretty challenging pretty quickly. And then you can try to straighten up, forward, down, and child's pose. And here I have my butt, and here I have my butt on my feet, and then I can stand back up. So that's plenty of challenge for most everybody. One way to get started on this is just to spend a lot of time on the mat. I use an extra thick mat, so you can get something like this 1 inch thick at Amazon. And I just have it in my living room because I use it all the time, several times a day. And this way you're safe, you're down, and you're just trying to put your heels on your butt. Just spend 3 or 4 minutes like this every day, trying to get all the way down. And this is with feet up. And then you can do it in child's pose this way, and that'll be easier to touch because your heels have come forward. But this is a great stretch. You want to just relax and get as much as you can out of this kind of pose. Then back up, and then should be able to get up eventually, so that you're really doing a lot with the knees over the toes. And that gets us to lunges, where you want to put your knee way out over the toes and put all your weight on that. Again, many people can't do that. That's okay. You can do it with a chair. You can get a chair and do it this way. And try to put your other foot back. So now you have this position, and you want to relax and get plenty of stretch in your knee. Are you going to do this on the first day? No. No, but you'll work your way down from some awkward, tighter position down into a looser, more relaxed position, and push the knee down so that you're really practicing this all the time. Then as you get better, you can go the next level down and lunge this way. And again, just relax and push the knee forward. And then over time, you can work your way down to a full lunge position on the floor. And this is what we call knees over toes, this kind of position. And this is about the best thing you can do for knee health. And one of the ways you can experiment with that in your gym or at home or even in the hallway of your apartment building, you just want to push a box like this. And you want a full ankle stretch. See how my ankles are all the way back and down? And then this kind of thing is very helpful for your knees. Your knees really benefit a lot from sled pushing. And then later in another video, I'll show you about sled pulling. You have to have a waist built for that. But then, want more challenge? Great. Put on some weight. And I push this thing around the gym several times a week like this, and I'll turn it like this. This is all great for your knees. To be able to push a sled that is resisting. Some gyms have really nice resistance sleds, but if you don't have one, you can improvise. With that as a foundation, you want to be able to squat all the way down, as I have shown, and balance and be able to get back up. In particular, you can build more leg muscles by adding weight to that, and that's called a squat. I don't mean a deadlift. A deadlift is something that power lifters do that I don't recommend really for anybody, unless you're a power lifter. And it's just grabbing some weights and doing a squat. The goal of a squat is to have your butt go down as far as possible. This way is with toes up, and then come back up. This way is with toes. Now when I'm on my heels, I'm going to put the weights out here because otherwise it's too easy to fall back. And this helps balance my weight. I'm all the way down. It helps to have the weights far out and then back up. But a way to cheat that, because that's difficult, a way to make it easier is with a wedge. And I don't have a wedge, so I'm improvising with some weights. Put your heels up a little bit, and this is much easier now. So now you can go down pretty comfortably. You want to go all the way down, all the way back up. And then you can add more and more weight to that, and you'll build your quads and the front of the leg this way. And you'll get a lot stronger with this. It might only be 10 pounds. It might be 5 in each hand, 10 in each hand. But this, if you can squat, is one of the healthiest things you can do for your legs and knees. Based on everything we've already built up, this exercise once a day will give you continued strength that will keep you stable for the rest of your life. You want to be able to do it every day. Okay, I can't emphasize enough that you want to be safe. Don't get yourself into a situation where you can get hurt. Every time you want to take the next step forward, find a way to support yourself so you're cheating for a while until you can do it. Find something you can hold on to and then start letting go of it. And then just gradually make your way to a strong movement. Okay, don't take chances and don't try to jump ahead quickly. Now I want to talk about grip strength, and I don't mean little grip exercises. I'll talk about these at the end. What I want you to do for grip strength is grab weights and lift weights. Now, I have spent the last 6 months working on grip strength, and I have added a good inch across my forearms, and I am very strong. I have tremendous grip, and I'm going to be, a year from now, I'll be even bigger. And this helps build the bones of your wrist and forearm and arm. And we're going to do it in many different ways, not just one way. So the first way for grip strength is just to grab something like 10 pounds in each hand. Stand up straight, and if it needs to be 5 pounds, that's okay. But I did this yesterday with my 93-year-old father, and he was able to get 10 pounds in each hand, no problem. Most people will. And you see I have a very relaxed grip, no thumbs. I'm really holding it at the ends of the fingers because the weakest part of the grip is not here where you use your big muscles. The weakest part is at the end where you're going to let go when you get tired. And this is the part you want to train. You want to always want to train and build up the weakest link. So I want you to walk. I want you to combine grip strength with putting some weight down through the spine. And so just walk. This is called farmer's carry. And you want to be very deliberate about being on 1 foot at a time and almost never on 2 feet. So don't spend any time here. Just walk. Once you can do this, and really, as you add weight, it gets a little more dangerous, and this can roll off. And I'll show you the same thing with barbells. And this weight, this is round, this can roll off. So you want to control it so you don't lose it, but just barely. You don't want to have an accident. You don't want a 10-pound weight to hit your foot, but you will benefit the most from having the most relaxed grip. Now, as soon as you start to feel that is not working and you're losing it, you need to tighten the grip a little bit, right? But as much as you can, you want to walk around the gym like this, carrying weight at the tips of your fingers. And you can do this with any amount of weight. Yesterday, my father and I determined that 12.5 pounds in each hand was about the right limit for him. And then when he gets stronger, he'll go to 15 pounds in each hand, loosely but safely, so that you don't drop the weights. These are 45 pound each. This is 90 pounds. And this is what I do. I walk around the gym slowly, 1 foot at a time, with open hands, so I don't, and pretty soon you're going to get to a point where you will lose the grip, and that's the point where you're building the most, where you're telling your muscles, by stressing your muscles, you're telling them that they have to grow. And so you want to go pretty close to your limit without dropping a 45-pound piece of steel on your foot. because that will require a lot more rehab of the foot and ankle later, which we don't want. So I do this, I make a couple of laps around the gym almost every day like this. There's a lot more you can do for grip strength. You can just grab heavy things and not by the handle, just hold heavy things. You can even do it with a bottle at home or with a can of something and just work on gripping. Grip has 3 components actually to grip. There's the pinch, which I'm doing now. There's the claw, which I showed earlier. This is the claw. Okay. When you're ready for it, this is also grip. And this is kind of an arm grip. You're pushing across your shoulders through your hands, but this is also a kind of grip exercise. And this is almost 20 pounds, so it's pretty challenging. And you are training again your forearms here to hold something in between both forearms. So I'm not sure the best thing to call that. The pincer, I don't know. But those 3 parts of the grip, you want to break them down and work on the weakest part first. Always try to improve the weakest part. And you want a lot of variety. So here's another one. And this towel is a little small. And then you can grip like this. That's a lot of grip work right there. And be careful that you don't fail. There are a lot of ways to use towels to improve grip. One of the ways is just over a bar and to pull yourself up by the towel. That's harder than you might think. And again, this is all great for forearms. It's also good for your biceps, but you're trying to build your forearm muscles, and there are a lot of good ways to do it. Another really good way to improve your grip is to grab a weight that you can hold, and it might be 5 pounds or 15, and just hold like this. Now there are 2 ways you can do this. One is with the fingers wrapped around the top, and the other is the claw without the fingers underneath the lip. And this is better for overall grip, right? But they train both 2 different things, right? This is the pinch, and this is the claw. So you can do it both ways, and you'll be effectively training slightly different muscles with both of those. And you can go to 15 and so on. 15 is a lot. So if you can do this for about a minute, you're really improving your grip strength. This is one of the best ways to improve grip strength, and especially with the pinch, not trying to wrap your fingers around the bottom. You don't want to have, you'd have to have huge hands anyway, but you don't want to grab underneath. You just want to pinch like that. Okay? Okay. Now, I will mention these things, and you've probably seen the type with the spring. I don't recommend these kinds of grip trainers, because if you do it enough, and you don't have to do it that much, you can get tennis elbow from that. It's a repetitive injury, and you don't want to do very much. If you have one of these, you want to do it twice a day maximum. No more than twice a day. Anything like this. You know, I use it for travel. I might use it on an airplane a little bit. But you don't want to overdo it. 2-3 minutes a day times 2, that's plenty. Otherwise, you can get tennis elbow, and it can take years to heal. You don't want that. There's another kind of fun one. I don't know if you've seen a gyro ball. These are like $11 at Amazon, and they are spring-loaded. And it's a little tricky to get these going. You have to spend some time. It's a skill to make these work, but once you have it, you can build momentum with it. And, well, I can put it here. Can you hear that? And it's hard. It's like a runaway wild animal that's trying to get out of your hands. And you're doing very small movements, but against a lot of resistance. You can't see that, but it's very hard to do what I'm doing. It's taking a lot of work right now in here to make this work. And then you can hand off and get it going again. And it's basically a scraping motion like a claw. You're scraping, you're scratching it forward. And then the faster it goes, the smaller the movement becomes. And it's a pretty good workout. I recommend it, again, not too much. 2 minutes, twice a day. Do not overdo this kind of thing. You'll get a repetitive stress injury. There's all kinds of things around your house that you can just grab and transfer and work on that kind of, here's a good example. You could just grab things and find ways to hold them that challenge your forearms. Okay, so there's plenty of things around you can do that with. All right, and so the main thing about grip strength is that you want to probably do it about twice a day, and you want to stress the claw, the pinch, and then the pincers, and all of that will work your forearms. Okay, and you really want to build up your forearms and send signals through your bones that you're stressing them, so that your bones. Look at older people in their 80s and 90s. Their bones, their wrists are tiny. It's not bone density, it's demineralization. Their bones are shrinking away. They're melting away. They're losing calcium and getting smaller because they're just not being used. So even just things with railings and things you can hang from. This isn't for everybody, but if you can hang like this, it's not only good for your grip, it's also sending a message through your spine and your arms that you need to build more bone. And the longer you can hold on, the better. If you can do this for 30 seconds, you're doing great. You could work up to about a minute. If you're doing the rest of the grip strength exercises I've shown, you do not need to be a hang bar specialist. I can probably hang for 1.5 minutes. I don't really care to hang a lot longer than that because it's not going to help me build my forearm muscles any more than what I'm already doing. In fact, I would say that the farmer carry is the thing that helps most because it loads your spine. While this is good for your spine, it just relieves your spine. It's not really telling your spine to grow. Whereas a forearm, a farmer carry, something heavy, will tell your spine to grow. So, not trying to be a champion bar hanger. For this last segment, I want to talk about stressing your bones so that you grow bone. And there are a lot of ways to do that. And this is just a short example set, and I've got longer videos on this, but just to show a few things that will help you grow bone. And by the way, walking doesn't do it. Walking doesn't build bone at all. You have to load your skeleton. So I just have people doing a heel drop. Okay, just a body weight heel drop with a straight knee so that you feel it in your jaw, you feel it in your eyes. There's a balance. Okay, and again, this is not something to take lightly. You don't want to do this without supervision and a consultation with someone who can understand your situation. You never know when you can go over the threshold to catastrophic failure or some kind of a fracture. So I'm not saying do this, I just want you to know that not doing any of this can also result in fracture, as we know. So very slowly and carefully building these movements up, then you can go to a bit of a jump. Now you can land on your toes first, or you can jump a bit and land on your heels. And you know you land on your heels because your eyes see it. Okay? And then my philosophy is that as high as you can jump is as high as you can fall from. So the full jump, you should be able to land, and that will give you some shock, some impact that tells your bones to grow. Now, you can do it very softly, and that won't have any impact on your hips. Or you can do it harder or harder and stop suddenly, like that. And that will give you more stress on your bones that tells them to grow. Again, be very careful. You go over the limit, you can break something. So I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just giving you information and demonstration. I have broken both hips. I know a little bit about osteoporosis. I have built this up from years of heavy backpack carrying, stair work, and lots of jumping. So it's not for everybody. But as you build slowly, your threshold will get higher and you'll be able to do more. Another important thing you can do is jumping side to side, and again landing. And so this is a great exercise for kind of all of the things together that I've been talking about. And you can come down pretty hard onto a straight knee. And then, you can turn it and try to make it more challenging. And that gives you more signal that your bone needs to grow. Another thing you can do to tell your bones to grow is to push against something that can't move. So push as hard as you can against something that doesn't move. And that, it's like pushing a super heavy weight. Let me show you over here. Again, something that doesn't move, and push up against it as hard as you can. The great thing about this is you're safe. Nothing can fall. Nothing can slip. You just push as hard as you can. And by building that straight line and pushing as much as you possibly can through that line, you are telling your bones, get ready to lift something heavy. Do this a couple times a day, and you'll get stronger bones as a result. And nothing moves, but it's going to make you tired. So that kind of isometric conditioning will help tell your bones to keep going. You can do all kinds of, things like you can push apart. You can push things apart. Okay, you can improvise your own way of doing it with your feet, with your legs. Okay, now with the arms, there are a couple ways to do it with the arms. This is one way. Again, we're going for impact that will strengthen your bones. It will tell your bones to grow. So this is one way. And I don't like doing this with a perfectly straight elbow because I get elbow pain, and you probably will too. So what you want is a slightly bent elbow, but very firm, strong arms. So you're like this. And you're looking for impact. You want your head to jar a little bit. And that'll go all the way through back to your shoulders. You can even do this to try to get some impact through your wrists to tell your wrists to grow. Okay, so you can imagine there are a lot of clever ways, things you can do to make yourself stress your bones enough to get that signal in. You can do it with weights, but it takes a lot of weight to be able to push or put enough weight stress through your bones because they're used to running, and that doesn't build bone. You've got to do more than that. So I recommend doing it with impact and with isometric pushing. And that's also very safe. Now there's For your hips in particular, this kind of thing really helps your hips. The more you can do like this, where you're making sudden torque movements, the more your hips will grow. For your spine, you can do something like this. And you want to keep a straight spine, you don't want to rock back. So something like this. You don't want a cushioned chair, you want a hard surface, or maybe put, a 1/2-inch yoga mat, just so it doesn't hurt. And again, you can't overdo this. You can get hurt, but if you do it moderately, you're sending signals to your spine to grow. You can do the same thing with your arms this way. So I do it like this. Again, not perfectly straight arms, but close. Fall and catch. But you want it to land, you don't want to absorb the blow, like you don't want this. You want to hit so that you feel a jerk in your eyes. And you can't do this too much. You'll find that you might get elbow pain. You're doing too much, so then you have to moderate it. Find ways to adjust until it's at a point that's comfortable, but sending that signal through, because you don't want your arms to be tiny. The older you get, the less you have. And then you want to work on, the last thing would be, in a basic set of exercises, the last thing would be a bicep curl with some amount of weight. So if you can do 10, you want to go up in weight. You want to go up to the point that you can only do about 5 or 6. I think this is too heavy for me. Yeah, it is. You want to go up in weight to where you can do about 5, 6, 7. And then if you have a machine like this, you want to set it so it's pretty difficult, so you can only do about 6. But this is a great exercise because it's a compound joint exercise, and this tells everything to grow and gives you good stress in your biceps and your back muscles as well. It doesn't matter how much weight it is. What matters is that you can do about 6 and then you're done. You cannot do 8. You do 6 or 7, but you can't do 8. And as soon as you do 8, then you add weight to the stack. And this is a very good way for people of any age, because there's no impact here, to stress your arms and back and grow muscles that will help keep you stable and strong for many years to come. The goal of my program is that you are stronger a year from now than you are today. You work with me, and I will work with you for 4 years to be stronger each year than you were before. So 4 years from now, you're much stronger. You can do things you can't possibly imagine you can do now. And then from there on, it's all just maintenance. You want to maintain that level of strength and balance and stability for the rest of your life. That will give you 5, 10, 15 years longer healthy lifespan than you would have otherwise. See my other videos for more demonstrations and important concepts for longevity.